fast forward up to 2019, so we can take a look at what results potentially could be generated out of this powerful opportunity. If we go to 2019, and let's just arguably say that the real estate has doubled in value, and I mean by that is the $150 million depressed value has increased in value up to $300 million. And let's also say during this 8-9 year period that the cash flow generated by the underlying pieces of real estate have exceeded the interest paid on the note by about a couple of $1 million a year. So over this 8-9 year period of time, let's say that the trust has generated an extra $15 million of cash flow. Now, the beauty of that is not only are we able to pay back the interest on the note, we're able to potentially do a lot of other things with this excess cash flow. If our grantor Frank, if Frank needs the money during the interim, we could simply pay back more of the note principal over time. Let's say that new deals become evident, and the trustees of the trust want to start buying new properties. They can do that with some of the excess cash flow. Let's say that it's projected that in Frank's estate there are other assets and there are going to be liquidity issues, the other 51% of the real estate, and maybe we need to buy life insurance. Well, you can use some of this excess cash flow to even buy life insurance on Frank's life, and since it's owned by this trust, we have the ability to have the death benefit paid into this trust also estate tax free. So there's a lot of flexibility on what you can do inside of this trust with this extra cash flow. Again, very important to plan and try to pick out the right assets, the assets that have the most potential to appreciate and the ones that are hopefully taking advantage of the low borrowing interest rate and can generate some positive cash flow for the trust.
Now, let's fast forward. Something happens to Frank at the time when all this stuff is worth $300 million.
Right.
What did we save by doing this?
Well, that's a very good question, and let's take a look at that. Because really, it's interesting to talk about these concepts, but let's try to quantify it a bit so we can see what actually can be really generated here. If we take a look at the chart, you'll see we started out, as we said, with $250 million of value in 2007. Fast forward to the end of 2010, and the value is depressed to $150 million. As we said, we have sold or gifted 49% of the value of the real estate, which brings us down to $75 million, which gets transferred from the father out to the trust. Now we've taken back the note, as we said, $40 million, so that comes back into the father's estate, and it's owed by the trust. We also said during this 8-9 year period of time, the trust has generated $15 million in extra cash flow. So that's money that was in effect transferred out of the father's estate to the trust tax-free. In addition to that, we said that maybe the value of the real estate has doubled over this 8 or 9 year period. So $75 million will accrue to the benefit of in the father's estate, and $75 million will accrue in effect for the trust. So what we end up here is we still have $175 million of value included in the father's estate, but we have $125 million of value inside of this trust that was transferred either through sales or gifts without paying a nickel of estate or gift taxes. Now, if Frank died at the end of 2019, where would we be? The father would pay, Frank would have, his estate would have to pay a tax of slightly in excess of $79 million. But let's compare this as if Frank did nothing. If Frank didn't do a thing, the $150 million of value would have doubled to $300 million at the end of 2019. That would have caused a combined federal and New York State estate tax of about $136 million. So we have in effect saved over $56 million in estate taxes by doing this transfer, and gotten $125 million into this trust in effect to continue and to grow tax-free. Remember a while ago, Maury, we said that we were setting up a generation skipping trust. And what's that? By allocating generation skipping exemption to this trust, in effect what we've done is estate planning for the kids. If we leave these assets in the trust, they can grow 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 years, estate and gift tax free. And when the kids pass away, the assets in this trust can go to their children completely estate tax free, regardless of what the law is. And also, an advantage of doing something like this is that the assets in this trust, in effect, can function as a financial safety net for the family. Frank can be sure that these assets are going to remain in his family, regardless of if his kids have problems with businesses, creditors, bad marriages, anything that that hopefully doesn't happen. But you never know. So we're actually protecting the assets at the same time that we're setting this up so that it can get transferred and grow estate and gift tax free, possibly for generations. And again, take a step back. We have a very limited opportunity within which to do this. I have no idea how long we're going to have these lower rates. They're set to expire at the end of 2012. The $5 million gift exemption, who knows? And asset values aren't going to stay depressed forever, and interest rates aren't going to stay this low forever. So we have, in effect, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to do something like this in the right situation. And you can see by looking at the chart, $125 million of potential assets transferred out tax-free with a $56 million estate tax savings is tremendous. You may never see the opportunity to do this again.